After an unknown virus wiped out humanity, only one man survived, Philip. For 2 years, he'd been wandering, desperately searching for another living soul. Finding no one, he returned to his hometown, defeated and alone. He scrawled on a signboard, "One human still alive." Why live in his old house when mansion stood empty? Philip moved into the richest estate in town, hanging stolen museum paintings worth billions on the walls. He brought home an Egyptian mummy's coffin and a dinosaur skull for his dining table. Each night before sleep, he apologized to God for his excessive masturbation over the past 2 years. Survival in solitude. When the toilet stopped working, Philip used cases of bottled water to clean himself. At the supermarket, instead of opening the door normally, he shot open with a gun. He grabbed food and filled his cart with pornographic magazines. That evening, he opened a $5,000 bottle of wine, thanked God, masturbated twice, and went to sleep. Days blurred together. Philip destroyed expensive items for entertainment, eventually crashing a Mustang into a cheap car just to watch it explode. His mansion became a junkyard. He filled a rubber pool with alcohol, bathing and drinking from it simultaneously. When his toilet became unusable, Philip cut a hole in a pool float and used it as his outdoor toilet. He visited a bar, talking to toy figurines, asking if they wanted drinks. When they didn't answer, he drank the entire bottle himself and passed out. A desperate encounter. The next day, Philip approached a female mannequin. "I've been noticing you for so long," he confessed, "but I didn't have the courage to tell you how I feel." As he kissed her, the mannequin's arm broke off. Heartbroken, Philip drove to a cliff the next day and wrote, "R.I.P. Philip." He accelerated toward the edge, ready to end it all, but stopped when he saw smoke rising from behind the mountain. Someone else was alive. He raced toward the smoke and found a campsite with women's undergarments hanging to dry. Overjoyed, Philip sniffed a bra and immediately passed out. Carol appears. He woke in a woman's lap, but his fantasy of a beautiful woman quickly shattered. The woman giving him CPR was Carol, plain and practical. "You passed out and wet yourself," she explained matter-of-factly. "I didn't wet myself. It was already wet." Philip protested. Carol pulled out a gun. "Put down my bra and tell me, are you a good person?" "Yes, you can trust me." She softened when he explained he'd written the sign and was about to end his life before finding her. They became friends over coffee, though Philip was clearly disappointed. He'd always wanted a beautiful woman, not this rusty piece of junk. New rules. Carol insisted on following society's rules despite the apocalypse. She made Philip stop at stop signs and check both ways. She was horrified by his lifestyle. The pool toilet, the trash pool, the alcohol pool, and stacks of pornographic magazines. "I'm not judging, but you seem like a total pervert," she laughed. Offended, Philip dumped her back where he'd found her, but Carol returned the next morning, cleaning his house. Their relationship was rocky. She demanded he park properly, clean up, and live like a civilized person. "We were chosen for a purpose," Carol insisted, "to repopulate the earth. Look, I'm not trying to insult you, but I have zero interest in sleeping with you, even if you're the last woman on earth," Philip replied brutally. Adjustments. Despite his protests, Philip helped Carol set up a water system. When she injured her foot, she invited him to dinner, where she declared, Based on what I've seen of your equipment, I'm certain God brought us together to repopulate the planet. Fine, let's do it tonight then, Philip said reluctantly. Not until you marry me, Carol insisted. I won't let the first child born on Earth be illegitimate. Marriage is meaningless now. It means something to me. Just because the world ended doesn't mean we abandon our values. Desperate for physical intimacy, Philip agreed. He proposed on his knees, and Carol accepted, though Philip felt no joy whatsoever. The wedding. Carol suggested they hold elections for President of the United States. Philip won by default and became president on their wedding day. Philip showed up in torn, dirty clothes while Carol had beautifully decorated the church. When it came time to exchange rings, Philip had forgotten to bring them. Carol stormed out, heartbroken. Philip found her sitting sadly in her beautifully decorated home. She'd been so excited about the wedding. He apologized, claiming he'd simply forgotten. They went to a jewelry store, and Philip slipped multiple rings on Carol's fingers, making their marriage official. The honeymoon that wasn't. On their wedding night, instead of consummating their marriage, Carol talked all night. The next day, they actually bonded. Carol joined Philip in his destructive fun, but their happiness was short-lived. At an intersection, their car collided with a limousine. Philip rushed to investigate and outstepped Melissa, a stunningly beautiful woman. Philip's jaw dropped while Carol welcomed her warmly. Melissa explained she'd been wandering for 2 weeks after reading Philip's sign. Philip's heart sank. She arrived before Carol. If only he'd found her first, Carol cheerfully announced. We just got married last week. Philip's face fell. He desperately tried to impress Melissa, showing off his mansion's expensive paintings. When Melissa said she needed rest, Philip eagerly offered his house, but Carol warned her about the pool toilet. At dinner, Philip shaved his beard after refusing when Carol asked, trying to win Melissa over. He agreed with everything Melissa said. Her favorite movies were suddenly his favorites. Her favorite foods were his favorites. Her favorite cars were his favorites. He was desperately trying to create a connection. Temptation. After dinner, Carol invited Philip to bed, but he claimed stomach pain. Are you attracted to Melissa? Carol asked suspiciously. No, nothing like that, he lied. That night, Melissa asked Philip to play her instrument, and he followed her like a puppy until he spotted Carol sitting on the toilet, watching him. He froze in terror. The next morning, Philip exercised shirtless to show off his body to Melissa. He gifted her a new car to replace the limousine he'd damaged. Carol was furious. Philip had time to give Melissa gifts, but not fix Carol's broken door. Breaking points. Melissa invited them both for cold beer from her generator. Philip showed up alone, claiming Carol was sick, though he'd never told Carol about the invitation. I've been searching for a man for 2 years, Melissa confessed. I have needs I want to fulfill. I understand. It's completely natural, Philip said, his heart racing. I'm so happy for you, too, Melissa continued. Even though you argue, you have each other. I really respect that. Philip was dying to tell her he wasn't happy with Carol at all, that he wanted someone like her, not this rotten garbage. Look at my luck, Melissa sighed. The last man on Earth, and he's married. Don't worry, Philip said. He won't be married much longer. The decision. Philip went to tell Carol he wanted a divorce, but found her making a heart decoration from their wedding photo for their door. seeing how much their marriage meant to her. He couldn't bring himself to hurt her feelings. He left silently. Meanwhile, an Audi appeared in the distance, heading toward the town. Someone else had survived and spotted Philip's alive sign. To be continued. Who is this new survivor? How many others remain alive? And will Philip ever get his chance with Melissa? The story continues.